Good evening, fellow Toastmasters or friends. What's estimated to cost $245,340? Well, unfortunately, it's not the price of a house in the Bay Area anymore, but it's still a hefty sum. It's actually the estimated cost of raising a child born in 2013 to the age of 18. So that doesn't even include college expenses. How does a single parent manage that? Well, tonight I'm going to introduce you to the agency that I work for, the Department of Child Support Services, or DCSS. DCSS assists single-parent families in collecting child support. And child support is defined as money paid for maintenance for children, usually by a parent who doesn't have custody of a child to a parent who does have primary physical custody of a child. Now, there's a Department of Child Support Services, or DCSS, in every state, and the services are administered at a local level in every county. So just to give you an idea about how much the DCSS collects in child support, in federal fiscal year 2010, nationwide, DCSS collected $27 billion in child support and cost $4.5 billion to run. This last federal fiscal year, Contra Costa County collected $67 million in child support and cost $18 million to run. So how does the Department of Child Support receive its cases? Most of its cases are referred from the local welfare department. If a family with dependent children is receiving a cash-based public assistance and one or more of the parents is not living in the home with the child, there's a mandatory referral to DCSS. And DCSS will investigate the absent parent's ability to support the children and bill the parents accordingly. So what happens to child support money that's collected? Well, if a family is still receiving public assistance, that money is actually maintained by the state and used to reimburse the public assistance programs. But usually what happens is if child support is collected on a consistent basis in an amount greater than a public assistance grant, this eventually allows the family to discontinue public assistance and receive child support in lieu of aid. Well, anyone whose family circumstances qualify them can apply for child support services. They don't have to be on public assistance. So non-aid applicants may apply, and there's just a $25 annual fee. And it's actually only assessed if DCSS collects at least $500 in child support the prior federal fiscal year. So it's a very reasonable cost for these services. So now I'm going to tell you about three main services that DCSS provides to the public. Those are location of absent parents and their assets, establishment of court orders for paternity, child support, and medical support, and enforcement of those court orders. So first of all, location of absent parents. As a government agency, DCSS has many locate partners within the government and beyond. It's kind of scary, actually. These include the Employment Development Department, the Franchise Tax Board, IRS, Department of Motor Vehicles, the Post Office, credit bureaus, employers, other government agencies like criminal institutions, probation, parole, many locate partners. And in addition, child support caseworkers are savvy and well-trained investigators. So once an absent parent is located, then a case moves on to the next stage, which is establishing a court order for paternity, child support, and medical support. Well, paternity is not always an issue. Paternity means fatherhood. If a child is born in wedlock, conceived in wedlock, paternity is not considered to be an issue. The husband is legally considered to be the father. But there are some cases where paternity is an issue if a child is born out of wedlock and the father hasn't acknowledged the child. And DCSS in those cases will provide free DNA testing. So once that hurdle is jumped over, then DCSS will move on to establish a court order for child support and medical support. So through its locate partners, DCSS gathers information on the parent's income, as well as sends out forms, income and expense declarations, and from the parents themselves gathers information on their income and their liabilities, and puts all that information into the guideline calculator, in addition to the respective timeshare between the parents. And the guideline calculator figures out an appropriate amount of child support. And once that's determined, a summons and complaint, a lawsuit, is filed with the local court, and within those papers, an amount of child support is requested, possibly paternity, if paternity is an issue, and medical support is requested. Once that's filed with the court, those documents are served on the parties in a case, and they have a certain amount of time to respond and request a court hearing to bring forward additional facts, or they can go to the DCSS office and sign a stipulated agreement or bring additional facts to the office and refigure the amount of child support. Or if nothing is done within an appropriate amount of time, a court order can be obtained by default. So next stage, once there's a court order, DCSS begins to enforce the order. And the most common method of enforcement is wage garnishment. But there are also many other methods of enforcement. DCSS intercepts tax returns, FTB, and IRS, unemployment, state disability, sends wage assignments against Social Security benefits. There's no statute of limitations on child support, and there's some very, very old children in the child support system. So there are many, many enforcement methods, including driver's license revocation, passport revocation, liens on real property, many, many ways that DCSS enforces these orders. So I hope you've learned a little bit more tonight about this service through the Department of Child Support Services, including the services location, establishment of court orders, and enforcement of court orders. And if you know anybody who might benefit from these services, please don't hesitate to refer them. Certainly $245,340 is a lot of money, and we could all use it to help raising our children. Thank you.